I was the only one who visited Grandma. She left me everything. Now my family's pissed. You know how every family has that one grandma, the one who doesn't take shit from anyone, speaks her mind even when no one asked, but is also the kindest soul you've ever met. That was my Grandma June. She was sharp as a tack, funny as hell, and had this ability to read people like a book. You couldn't lie to her. I don't mean she was good at guessing. I mean you'd open your mouth and she'd already know you were full of crap. Her favorite saying was, "If I wanted fake smiles and pretty lies, I'd turn on the damn TV." She was no nonsense, but she loved hard, especially me. When I was a kid, Grandma June basically co-parented me. My mom was always busy, checked out, and my dad dipped when I was 9. But Grandma, she showed up. Every damn time. School plays, stomach flus, heartbreaks, she was there with ginger ale, brutal honesty, and those weird peppermint candies she always had in her purse. Fast forward to about 3 years ago, she started slowing down. A bit more forgetful, a bit more tired. The woman who once chopped wood in her backyard at age 70 suddenly needed help reaching for a teacup. The family, my uncles, aunts, cousins, said all the right things. We should do a family dinner soon, or tell her we're thinking of her. But that's all it was, talk. They all vanished the moment it became inconvenient. I didn't. I visited her weekly, sometimes more, took her to appointments, helped her clean, brought her those lemon scones she loved. We sit and talk about everything, her childhood, my work, dumb TV shows. She always said, "Everyone's got time for you when you're strong, but when you're old and slow, that's when you see who really gives a damn." Yeah, she knew exactly what was up. What nobody knew, not even me, was that Grandma had money. Like, real money. She lived modestly in this old, creaky 2-bedroom house that always smelled like cinnamon and wood polish. But under that roof, she was running a damn empire. Turns out, back in the day, Grandma June had started an anonymous erotica publishing business. Yup. Self-published under a fake name, kept the branding tight, and marketed her spicy little novels to book clubs and Kindle readers like a boss. She had a pen name I won't reveal here, because, I still want to look people in the eye at Thanksgiving. But let's just say she was the E.L. James of Midwest housewives before E.L. James even existed. And she crushed it. Royalties were still rolling in. She never told anyone. Not because she was ashamed, she wasn't, but because, in her words, "What I make isn't for pearl clutchers or gossips. It's for people who need a little thrill in their lives, like me. And maybe your Aunt Darlene, but she'll never admit it." So when she passed last fall, I was devastated. I mean, I knew it was coming, but it hit me harder than I expected. And right after the funeral, which most of the family barely showed up to, the lawyer called me in for the will reading. And yeah, that's when shit hit the fan. The will reading was weird. The lawyer, this quiet, awkward guy in a brown suit that probably hadn't been dry cleaned since 2014, sat me down and slid over a folder. No dramatic drum roll, no antique chest or handwritten letter, just paperwork. Very official, very plain. But inside. Yeah, she left me everything. The house, the land, the royalties, the savings account I didn't even know existed. She even listed the erotica pen name and transferred the rights to me, royalties included. And yes, I did check. That stuff still sells like hotcakes. Apparently, cowboy lust, tied to the ranch, is huge in Germany. My brain was spinning. I sat there in stunned silence for like 2 straight minutes. I think the lawyer thought I was about to cry. I was just overwhelmed. Not by the money, but by the fact that she trusted me that much, that I meant that much to her. There was a note, too, handwritten, folded neatly in the envelope. "If you're reading this, I'm probably dead. Unless this got mailed by mistake, in which case, damn it, Jeremy, get your act together. Anyway, I'm proud of you. You always showed up when nobody else did. You're a good egg. Don't feel guilty about any of this. The rest of them had their chance. Give them what I left, nothing more. And if they complain, tell them I said to shove it. Love, Grandma." I laughed. In the middle of that stiff lawyer's office, I full-on cackled. He looked alarmed. I told him it was fine. I told him Grandma would have laughed too. Then came the distribution. The rest of the family was contacted, as per legal requirements, and informed of their inheritance. It was glorious. To each of them, she left exactly one thing. 3 mismatched socks, all with holes. 1 half-eaten apple, sealed in a Ziploc. A sticky note with the words, "You didn't visit, hope this helps." No money, no property, no sentimental heirlooms, just the cold, hilarious justice of a woman who didn't forget being forgotten. When I tell you they lost their minds, I mean lost it. My phone blew up the next day. Group texts, angry voicemails. My cousin Kyle, the same guy who once said, "Old people just need to accept death and stop wasting hospital beds," had the audacity to write, "This is clearly a mistake. She wouldn't do this. You manipulated her. We're going to challenge this in court." Oh, Kyle, sweet summer child. I replied with a screenshot of her note and said, "She actually told me to tell you to shove it. Direct quote. He didn't respond. But that wasn't the end of it. Oh no, because apparently when entitled people don't get their way, they don't sulk, they escalate. So yeah, they escalated. At first, it was just annoying. Passive-aggressive texts from my Aunt Linda like, I just think it's strange that some people benefit, while others who raised children and worked hard get disrespected. Aunt Linda, your raising children was mostly yelling at Kyle and microwaving chicken nuggets, but okay. Then came the calls from my Uncle Rick, who suddenly decided I was his favorite nephew. This man hadn't spoken to me in 6 years, literally walked past me at family reunions like I was part of the landscaping, and now he's calling me buddy and talking about family unity. Right, I ignored them. That's when the real fun started. One afternoon, I was coming out of a local coffee shop, hazelnut latte, no regrets, and there they were, Aunt Linda, Uncle Rick, and Kyle, waiting by my car like they were on a CSI stakeout. Linda goes, we need to talk. I go, you know you can just text me like a normal passive-aggressive person, right? Kyle steps forward like he's about to get physical, which is hilarious because the dude has the build of a frightened flamingo and has never been in a fight that didn't involve a Twitter thread. He says, Grandma wasn't in her right mind. There's no way she meant to cut us out like that. You need to share. I took a deep breath, sipped my latte, said, Grandma left you socks. You can wear them while walking away from me. Linda gasped. Rick muttered something about lawyers and fraud. I just got in my car and drove off. But they weren't done. 2 days later, I got a letter, like an actual letter, printed in an envelope with a stamp and everything. It was from a lawyer. Okay, a guy named Paul D. Stanley, attorney at law, whose website looked like it was built with MS Paint in 2006. The letter basically said they intended to dispute the will, citing undue influence and mental decline. Which again is laughable. Grandma was mentally sharper at 88 than Kyle has ever been in his life. My lawyer, a real one, took a look and said, yeah, this is garbage. Apparently, Grandma had her will notarized and witnessed twice. She'd even added a video of herself reading it aloud, saying, if you're seeing this, it means I'm dead, and someone's trying to pull some bullsh asterisk T. Nope, I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm not senile, I'm not confused, I'm just done with leeches. Icon, legend, queen. The case went nowhere. After that, the messages changed tone, from legal threats to emotional guilt trips. Do you really think she loved you more than us? She would be ashamed of what you're doing. Money changes people. You've let it corrupt you. The irony being, they're the ones obsessed with the money. Me, I was still sleeping in the same room I'd slept in as a kid, still driving my beat-up Corolla. The only thing that changed was that I had less family group chats to ignore. Well, that, and I now had a fat savings account and the rights to a series of books with titles like Lust in the Library and Saddle Me, Sheriff. Life's weird, man. So here's the part I didn't fully process until I actually moved in. Grandma's house, not just a cozy little home. This place was a whole-ass estate. Like, yeah, from the outside, it still looked like the same 2-story house with green shutters and a porch swing that creaked in the wind. But once you stepped inside and went past the main living area, it just kept going. Rooms I never knew existed. A sunroom. A basement office that looked like a Bond villain's HQ. A converted attic with a skylight and shelves lined with first editions, and no joke, a secret drawer full of handwritten manuscripts. Turns out Grandma didn't just write under one pen name. She had 3, each with a distinct vibe and brand. One was cowboy-themed, Saddle Me, Sheriff, etc. Another was dark academia-style gothic romance, Midnight at the Bell Tower. And the third, Regency-era smut, complete with elaborate titles like The Duke's Reluctant Governess. She had spreadsheets, royalty reports, marketing plans. She ran her empire with surgical precision, all from a big-ass mahogany desk, sipping chamomile tea, while the rest of the family thought she was just knitting. Honestly, moving in felt less like inheriting a house, and more like being handed the keys to a secret legacy. And I took it seriously. I didn't go full influencer or anything, but I cleaned the place up, kept her garden alive, started organizing her work for possible re-release under a publishing imprint, still anonymous, still classy. I even named the imprint after her favorite saying. Cut the crap press. Meanwhile, the relatives, oh boy. Now that I was physically in the house, living their fantasy, I guess, the bitterness turned nuclear. Suddenly I was the villain in their family drama, the thief, the snake, the opportunist who preyed on a weak old woman, a direct quote from Kyle's new Facebook post, complete with a selfie of him fake crying next to a pic of Grandma. He also used the hashtag #JusticeForJune. My God. People I hadn't heard from in years were sliding into my DMs. High school friends, distant cousins. Even my mom, who, again, barely raised me, tried to call me, saying things like, you know, this could be a blessing for all of us. You don't have to hoard it. She'd want family unity. Lady, you didn't even come to the funeral. You sent balloons. Who sends balloons to a funeral? I told them the same thing, every time. She made her choices. I'm honoring them. If you don't like it, take it up with her ghost. That usually shut things down. But the pressure kept coming. At one point, someone, and I still don't know who, doxed the property address and started leaving stuff in the mailbox. Notes like, "Your time is coming. We know what you did." Literal rotten apple in a sandwich bag labeled traitor. I reported it, obviously, set up cameras. Police weren't too interested since there was no direct threat, but I made sure the footage existed. Still, and this might sound weird, I wasn't scared. Not really. I felt vindicated. All those years I felt like the outsider in my own family. All the guilt, the loneliness, the second guessing whether showing up for Grandma even mattered. Now I had proof, cold, hard proof. She saw me, she chose me, and she trusted me to carry her legacy while everyone else saw her as a burden to be avoided. So no, I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't going to feel bad. And I damn sure wasn't going to give a single dollar to people who hadn't given her a single minute of their time. After the doxing and the weird mailbox threats, I started getting that tight, anxious feeling in my chest anytime I pulled into the driveway. Even though the house had always been a safe place, full of warmth, overcooked stew, and sarcastic wisdom, it was starting to feel violated, like they were trying to poison it too. I did something they never would have expected from sweet little me. I hired private security. Nothing too dramatic. No ex-military guys with sunglasses and earpieces, though I did ask for the sunglasses option, mostly for the vibe. I ended up finding a small local firm that handled estate protection and corporate clients. Discreet, efficient, and very into preventative presence. They set me up with a rotating team of 2 people during the day and someone doing surveillance at night. Cameras were installed around the property, motion sensors, a literal panic button in the office. Grandma would have loved that, not out of fear, but out of style. She was always saying stuff like, "You never know when you'll need to press a button and ruin someone's week." The guards were surprisingly chill. One of them, Tamika, turned out to be a huge fan of the exact same sci-fi series Grandma used to binge. We'd talk between shifts about whether the season 5 finale made sense. It didn't. And she even started reading one of Grandma's books, under a pseudonym, of course. We don't need her traumatized mid-shift. And my family realized I'd put up security. Oh, they fumed. Uncle Rick called it paranoid. Kyle posted on Facebook again, locked out of love, with a selfie in front of the gate like he was staging a political protest. But what really pushed me over the edge was when they tried to use other people to guilt me. You know how some people won't accept no, so they start asking through mutual friends? Yeah. Suddenly, I got a message from Emily, an old classmate I hadn't spoken to in years. We weren't even that close back then, but she DM'd me like we'd been besties in the war. "Hey, long time. So random, but I saw your name come up in convo. I heard about what happened with your fam. Super wild. Anyway, I've been talking to Kyle and honestly, he seems really hurt. He said all he wants is a fair conversation. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to hear him out." I stared at that message like it was written in crayon. Kyle, hurt. This dude once left his own mother's birthday party because she bought him the wrong flavor of La Croix. I replied with something polite but firm. "Hey, appreciate the concern. I'm good though, just honoring Grandma's wishes. Hope you're doing well." She heart-reacted it and never replied. Guess she wasn't that worried about me being harassed, doxxed, or stalked. Funny how that works. At this point, I was starting to see the bigger picture. They weren't just mad about the money. They were mad about the control. See, for years, they'd all ignored Grandma because she was old, sharp-tongued, and inconvenient. They were waiting her out, assuming the pot of gold would show up at the end, and they'd split it with smug little speeches about honoring her memory. Except she flipped the script. She didn't reward silence. She didn't forgive neglect. She rewarded presence. And they couldn't stand it. I wasn't being paranoid. I was just finally safe. And even though I missed Grandma more than I could put into words, I felt like she was still looking out for me. She knew. She saw the vultures coming. And she made sure her house, and her favorite person, wouldn't be touched. Funny thing about living in a house that used to belong to someone you loved is that they never really leave. Not in a haunted way, no flickering lights or eerie whispers, but in the way certain smells linger. The creak of a floorboard she always stepped on. The mismatched mugs she insisted were charming. The sweater you find, still folded in a drawer, with a single butterscotch candy in the pocket. I found a shoebox one morning while cleaning out the hall closet. It was buried behind some old blankets and labeled in faded Sharpie. For the kid. Inside, a stack of photos of us from every year I'd visited, even the ones I thought no one took. A birthday card she must have written but never gave me, with a $100 bill taped inside. The note read, "In case I'm not there to give this to you, buy something ridiculous." Worn copy of The Little Prince, with a sticky note on the first page. "You always were my fox." I sat there on the hallway floor and cried. Not because I was sad, though I was, but because I felt so seen, so loved. Everything I'd done for her, every afternoon visit, every errand run, every story I read aloud when her eyes got too tired, it mattered. She remembered. No one could take that from me. Which brings me to the final boss fight, the public smear campaign. Apparently, Kyle and Aunt Linda decided to go viral. They made a joint TikTok account called it June Justice Family, which already tells you the level of cringe we're dealing with. They posted a teary slideshow of grandma photos, set to some sad indie piano track, with captions like, "She gave him everything, we got nothing. Is that what love looks like? Unfair family betrayal, justice for June." I don't usually clap back online, but this time, I made an exception. I posted one short video, black screen, my voice over it, calm, steady. My grandmother was the sharpest person I've ever known. She didn't leave me everything because she was confused. She did it because she saw who showed up when she needed someone. I didn't ask for anything. I was just there. And if you think inheritance is earned through silence, absence, and expectation, you never knew her at all. I didn't tag anyone, didn't mention names. But it hit hard. Within hours, the comments on their video flipped. People started asking, where were you when she was alive? And why didn't you visit if she meant so much to you? They turned the comments off. Then they deleted the video. Then the whole account. Game. Set. Match. And as for the estate, I still live here. I take care of the house. I maintain her garden. I've started working with a small indie publisher to re-release her books properly, with royalties going to a literacy nonprofit she used to donate to anonymously. Sometimes I sit on the porch in the evenings, the same way she did, with tea and a blanket and that dry little smirk she always had. The sun sets. The air cools. And I imagine her saying what she said to me once when I was a kid, crying over being left out at school. People will be mad when you're chosen, but that doesn't mean you weren't right to be chosen. I get it now. She didn't just leave me money. She left me peace. And to the rest of the family, she left exactly what they deserved. 3 holy socks and a half-eaten apple.